Hey everyone, we are live today from the garden and we are doing a live stream. It is really gently sprinkling outside, so hopefully it doesn't get any worse than that. I was actually out in the garden, which prompted the title From the Garden, but now we're next to the garden, kind of in the garden. It's slightly sprinkling. We have an umbrella, but the umbrella does not offer a super ton of protection. But cross your fingers that it rains so hard we have to go inside, because we need the rain so desperately bad. It is terribly dry. We've had to use the sprinkler on the lawn. We've been watering nonstop the new trees. It's just been, oh my goodness, it's been a nightmare because it's been so dry. We normally get around, I'd say 4 to 5 inches of rain in the month of June. It's a pretty wet month still. It's still about, still what you consider spring weather. And so hopefully you can hear the planes flying by. I don't know how. I always get the best luck when I come out here to do live streams. There's like trucks and planes and trains and automobiles everywhere. Anyways, so yeah, so normally we get about 4 to 5 inches of rain, and this month we only have about a quarter inch, and we normally get 4 to 5, so it's pretty dry, pretty dry. So anyways, we are here to do a live stream as long as the time allows, and as long as Geneva allows. She's napping and Cindy's gone and she's going to do some errands, so I'm here babysitting. Hey Daniel from the Arms Family Homestead, how's it going? Adam Roth, I'm in Indiana. It's been killing me too. Oh my goodness, I've seen some of the weather around there. Cindy's parents, they live in Chicago, and so it is super hot there. Corey Gald, how goes it? Well, I was just out in the garden today, and I noticed something really exciting. Here, come with me really quick. I don't think it's raining too awful hard. Let's go take a quick walk to the garden, and hopefully I don't lose signal. We have 2 different Wi-Fi connections. As you see, I lost signal. We have a Wi-Fi extender, and then we have our actual Wi-Fi. I'm supposed to be hooked onto the Wi-Fi extender, but it must have switched over. Sometimes depending on where I walk, it'll switch over. And so, yeah, so there's the potatoes way over there. We're in the safe zone now for the regular Wi-Fi. But yeah, so everything's doing really great. Everything is just growing like crazy. But anyways, I have to run back to the house because it's starting to rain harder. So, okay. All right. Okay. There we go. It's starting to almost downpour, but not quite a downpour. So, I have to get here. Otherwise the camera just gets all messed up. So, all right, I'm going to set you back up where you were. But yeah, so that happened. I was outside in the garden today watering, and I looked over at the potatoes, and it was just like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. It was just completely loaded with flowers. There was none yesterday. So, BossNet, I'm new. Welcome to the channel. Kevin Sharp, it's raining here also. Thank you so much, whoever was in charge of the rain. I appreciate it. We need more of it. So yeah, it can downpour anytime. So Pi Hess, okra. No, we're not growing okra, unfortunately. I'm not a big fan of it. I've had fried okra before. It's more of a textural thing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's put it that way. I don't insult people that like it. I know people are super diehard about it. People down south. Tansy from the Caver's Wife, I'm pretty sure I saw you on here. Maybe I didn't. I could be imagining things. She grows okra. She's super diehard about it. So I'm not insulting anyone that does like it. It's just, it's a little too slimy for me or something. So anyways, but feel free to ask questions. We are here to do a question and answer. I like to do these. I want to do them more frequently. Just because I think it offers a real good medium for you to get the answers you need in real time. And it allows me to engage with my viewers who I care so much about. And so these usually don't have the highest, engagement as like a normal video does, because people that watch later have no clue what's going on. And so for those that are live, it really helps, and it really is fun to see the questions coming in live. How's the pomegranate bush? Really, really good. So we, unfortunately, can't go over there to show you, but it was shipped from California where we bought it, and so climate changes were totally shifted, and so it dropped all of its flowers in stress. I thought the plant was actually going to die, but it is thriving. It is doing so well. And so we threw it in with some trifecta, some compost, kept it really well watered, totally freaked out, lost all of its flowers and yellowed up and thought it was going to die. But then it started popping all new green growth. And that is a great sign for a gardener. You all know that kind of, I guess, the healing process that a plant goes through. And I'm just glad to see it turning green. So it's doing quite well now. And it should definitely be doing well in the future as well. I don't think it should be going down. I don't think it should be going south, at least. Let's put it that way. Can you do a Tigger melon growing guide? I don't see why not. We don't have any planted right now because our garden is quite literally full, and we might have some room at the cottage. Oh my gosh, I got bit by so many mosquitoes. It's mosquito season out here in Michigan, and with the hot weather, they go insane. I would love a nice cold night because it really knocks them down quite a bit. But man, I was out watering last night and I got bit alive last night. So I'm itching all over. It's like not fun. And you should see Cindy. Oh my gosh, her arms are just like covered in mosquito bites. So let's see here. How long before the orange Russellinis are back in stock? So anyone that is interested in getting some, we are currently sold out. Because we are the only ones cultivating them, we don't rely on a farmer to grow the seeds. We actually save the seeds ourselves. And right now they're sold out. We saved just enough for us to regrow. We had some in the garden. We have some going at the cottage. And then, whatever we get, we'll save the seeds from, and they'll be available November 1st. So November 1st is when we reopen for the 2018 gardening season. So unfortunately, if they're sold out now, they'll be sold out until November 1st. But for anyone wondering about stuff that's in the store, if it's sold out or not, almost everything we get from small family-owned seed farmers through a seed broker. And so we may be getting more stuff in for the fall gardening season. Just stay, frequent on the website, and you'll notice things are changing all the time. So, in fact, we got a couple varieties in that we're going to be restocking. Some watermelon radishes and a couple other things I forgot already. But watermelon radishes was one. Arugula was another. Brussels sprouts was another. So we'll have a couple more for the fall gardening season that a lot of people have been requesting us to restock. So any advice on keeping slugs out of the garden? From Jeremy Hill. Jeremy, first one I always recommend is no mulch in the garden unless it's in the pathways. A lot of people like the back to Eden gardening method. However, if you have slugs in the area, slugs love mulch. So one thing we found at our old house was whenever we put mulch down, we'd have slugs. As soon as we got rid of the mulch, the slugs went away because the slugs need a moist environment to thrive. So if you don't have any mulch or places for them to hide under, it's very difficult for you to have slugs. Another thing you can do is go to the hardware store and pick up playground sand. They actually hate playground sand. Don't try the eggshells. Don't try the coffee grounds. That stuff's all bogus. You can waste your time dealing with slug traps and alcohol. It's really not that effective because they are attracted to it, but your chances of catching a slug are slim to none because there's thousands. Wherever one fell into the beer, there's probably 200 other ones in the garden not falling into the beer. So the best thing to do is to mulch with like a sand or something. That usually works pretty well. Vincent Schemkes, hi from Amsterdam. Very good info. Hello, Amsterdam. Oh, I'd love to travel to Amsterdam. That'd be so much fun. Cindy and I have been wanting to travel, but with Geneva, it's a little hard. So when she starts getting of age, you can bet we'll be in Amsterdam. Max Berry, I have I have a little thread-like white worms in my containers. They come out with each. What are they? I have no clue. Hadwan, huge hi from the Middle East. Hey, how's it going? Oh my gosh, I have dreams of traveling to the Middle East. I would love to visit like Egypt man, Israel. I'd love to see Israel, Egypt. I'd love to also see anywhere like Saudi Arabia. Oh my gosh, I would love to travel abroad. It would be so much fun. But like I said, Geneva, being so young, it's hard to travel. But there's a lot of Middle Eastern countries that I want to check off my list that I would love to see. And Cindy wants to travel Asia. She wants to see a lot of Asian countries, like the Philippines and Korea. Taiwan. Oh man, so she wants to see a bunch as well. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have a world tour. Who knows? Colin Henley, can you talk about tilling versus not tilling a garden? So, depending on the size of the garden, tilling versus not tilling, I'm not really biased to any. I've tilled a garden. I've also not tilled a garden. What I can say is that I prefer not tilling a garden if possible. For a lot of people, it's not possible. If you have a big garden and it's super weedy and it's in ground, you have to weed. It's almost impossible to not weed. But when it comes to no tilling, I absolutely love it in the raised beds because the soil retains way more moisture. It stays way looser, so it's softer and fluffier. The plants grow faster, and weeding is almost non-existent. I mean, you literally just can pluck out any weeds that you have. So it's something that I personally am more fond of no-till than tilling. But I hear a lot of people say, oh, you're going to damage the soil, you're going to ruin the soil structure. I think there's some truth to that, but I think there's a lot more, I can't say misinformation, because there is definitely validity to it, but I think that tilling the garden is essential for some people, and a lot of people just they say, well, my garden's going to have to be weedy because I can't till it. I think you can till it. So, Blaine Porio, do you graft plants? We actually have a video on grafting tomatoes. I think 2 or 3 years ago we grafted tomatoes. That was a ton of fun. And one of the things we did was we took cherry tomatoes and grafted them to beefsteak rootstock, and that was a lot of fun. And we have a video on how to do it as well. Hello from Kuwait. Hi, how's it going? BossNet, how do you grow papaya? We've never grown a papaya. Actually, we did grow a papaya, but it died, so I can't tell you how to grow it. Kevin Sharp, ants. Ants are a plague in the garden. In fact, we have a video coming out really soon about aphids in the garden. And if you have ants, you'll most likely have aphids, because the ants are because of the, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on with all these people? So ants, if you have aphids in the garden, or if you have ants in the garden, you'll most likely have aphids, because ants will actually mine the honeydew that comes from the aphids. The aphids, they'll here's a little plant for an example. So they'll be on the undersides of leaves, and on the undersides of leaves, you have access to all the veins, which the veins carry the water and the sugars created through photosynthesis down to the roots. And so the aphids are quite smart. They know that the sweetest part of the plant is going to be, oh my Lord. Anyways, so they know that I know we need a moderator for sure. We'll get one before long. So the aphids are real smart. They know that the sweetest part of the plant is also the most tender part of the plant, and they will kind of hide on the undersides of the leaves, and I don't know what's going on. There's so many people that shouldn't be on here. So anyways, and I'm trying to do my best to talk and block at the same time. But they'll go to the undersides of leaves, and they will chew at the undersides of leaves, creating a honeydew. And the honeydew is basically the sugars created through photosynthesis, and the ants will climb up the plant to gain access to that sugar. So real easy way to get rid of them is to get rid of the honeydew, or to get rid of the aphids and the honeydew. Let's see here. Oops, 1 second. That was a good question. Tristan Belgian, tips for baked hard clay soil. Compost. Take compost and put it right on top of the baked hard clay soil. The problem with baked hard clay soil is that there's not enough organic matter. Organic matter holds on to water. It holds on to soil, like bacteria. It holds on to worms. Baked hard clay soil is because there's not enough organic matter, and all of the organic matter has been blown off. It's actually the first start to desertification. So if you have really hard clay soil, you need to put compost on top of that, and that's going to insulate water, which will rehydrate that clay and allow worms and bacteria to come through the soil, and then they're going to break down that compost, and they're going to mix the soil up and down throughout the soil web, and it's actually going to fix your clay soil permanently. So it might take 3 or 4 years, but it's really, really good stuff. I mean, we have pretty hard soil, and in some places it is, I don't even know if I could, it's not raining right now, but I don't know if I have an example of anything within Wi-Fi range to show you. But we have really hard clay soil here. And the one thing I noticed is as soon as we put compost, like around the fruit trees is a good example, we put compost around the fruit trees in about a 3-inch mulch layer, and it just immediately made a massive difference. Off grid with Doug and Stacy. There you go. You're the moderator. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. By the way, if you have not yet seen their channel, they have an incredible channel. So I have just now made them a moderator, or you should be. Let me know if you're not. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that I don't like to have moderators because it kind of puts a job on somebody. But if someone wants to do it, please do. We got to keep this thread clean and not full of idiocy. So, yeah. Any tips to grow chives? Okay, great question. That was from Silly Musician, 1968. Chives need containers. You have to put them in containers, and so if you put them in containers, they're going to do much better. One of the things that I can say is a must is that if they're in a container, you have to mulch them. They need to mulch. They need to stay hydrated because they dry out. They're an allium, so they're an onion. And so, oh my gosh, I'll have to. Did you guys see that bird that just flew by? I'll just show you guys sometime. They're making a nest in a cinder block, and it is the cutest thing ever. I'll have to do a video on it because I don't think I have Wi-Fi. But they're sparrows, and they're making a nest in there. It is way cool. So anyways, so yeah, we have, I'll show you the size pot that I'd recommend. So I'm gonna walk over there, and maybe I can even show you guys the sparrow nest. So let's walk and talk. Let's do that. Yeah, you want to put them in containers. You want to mulch them pretty heavily. One of the things that I recommend is these root pots here. So we have the 87-year-old tomato in there, and so the 87-year-old tomato is doing just fine, by the way. But the root pots, they will air prune, and so chives are really invasive. They'll spread their their seeds when they go to flower. They'll spread their seeds all over the place. And so I prefer to put them here in the pots where they can kind of be not so prone to spreading their seeds in the garden. If I were to put them in the garden, there'd be nothing but just absolute chive sprouts everywhere. So let's hope we don't lose you here. But these are the pots that I grow my chives in. And these are just a 3-gallon trade pot. If you don't have access to the net pots here, what you can do is you can go to a local nursery, ask them if they're throwing out any of these plastic pots here. And these plastic pots make awesome containers. I mean, they're not the prettiest things in the world, but they're super functional. And we got these for free. Well, we've got some of them for free. Some of them were kind of for free because we bought plants in them. But we got a bunch of these for free just by going to the local nursery and saying, hey, oh, off-grid Doug and Stacy. Oh, we have access to the nut pots in this comment section. Thank you. I'm glad you have that under control. You may block anyone you wish, within reason. Just you know what I mean. I love you guys. Anyways, I'm cracking up here because there are some crazy whack job people that come onto live streams, and I don't know why. But we can filter out the fools. It's fine. And you know what? That's just what live streams have become. It is what it is. The 3-gallon and 5-gallon pots, they're called nursery pots or trade pots, depending on who you go to. But they are really awesome for growing some of your more container plants. Now I do have a video on that where we grew in. So if you all saw the video on plants that grow better in containers, I recommend checking that video out. Turn you guys around. We talked about how planting in mint in containers is something that you want to do. Chives are the same way. So always put them in containers. Let's see here. Nate Mullenix. What is the best way to use bamboo as staking? Bamboo is a super awesome resource in the garden, and what you can do is, as it grows, you want to let it grow up real nice and tall, and then what you can do is you can chop off all the leaves, chop it off at the base, and essentially it's this like regenerative staking. It's awesome. I wish we could grow it here actually, but it is also very invasive. So oh my goodness, there are like so many. Anyways, let's put it this way. What big dog? What can I do about blight? Blight. If you have blight, you can take 1 to 2 tablespoons of baking soda, mix it in 1 gallon of water, and add 2 drops of dish soap. That will allow the mixture to be emulsified in the water, and then you spray it on the leaves of the plant. And and you need some oil. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of baking soda, a couple drops of dish soap, and about a tablespoon of vegetable oil of any kind in a gallon sprayer, and you just spray it up, shake it up, emulsifies in the water, and then you can spray your leaves with it. And you want to do that about every 3 or 4 days until the blight is gone. Because what you want to do is you want to change the pH of the leaf. So the leaf here has basically a surface on it, and if that surface is not the right pH, if it's too acidic or too alkaline, the blight can't survive on the leaf surface itself. So that's all you want to do, and you can do that with. They have other things too, like copper sulfate is a really good example of something you can buy from the store. But the baking soda is a really good example, and we actually have a blog post on it if you're interested in that. I mean, we also have a video on YouTube. It's a bit old, but the information is still relevant, and it's called How to Control Blight and Powdery Mildew Using Baking Soda. I think that's what it's called, and that's an awesome way to get rid of blight in the garden for relatively nothing. Mohammed asks, will you provide red Malabar and orange Russelini in November? Sorry about that. So we will have red Malabar, spinach, and orange Russelini back in the store for November. John Doe, you should do hardy kiwi. We would love to grow hardy kiwis. The only problem is we don't have a whole lot of space left to grow them. They're on my to-grow list. If we ever get an arbor, one of my wishes is to get an arbor. We're planning on, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So we have a real good sun, right, one moment here. So we have real good sun on this side of the house here, and we're gonna plan on having an arbor coming up and extending over and down kind of on the roof line, if you will. And then we're planning on having like grapes and things draped down through the arbor that will be an extension of the porch over there. And it will provide a little more shade, ambiance, and cover up this side of the house, which is really, really unsightly. We just don't have the money to repaint the house, and so it's kind of nasty. And an arbor would just fix that really nicely. So yeah, so if we ever get that arbor, I'd totally dedicate part of it to growing kiwis. I think that's an awesome plant to grow. Whoa, comments are coming in so fast here. Hold on. Sue Alvarado, is compost supposed to have bugs? Of course, yeah. Compost is supposed to have bugs. Compost is alive, and one of the things about compost is if it's not alive, you're going to have the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but the bugs are the most important part because they bring in the bacteria. So things like worms and roly-polies and oh my goodness, good nematodes. They all have a purpose. They'll eat whatever's in the compost pile, and when they do their business, they'll I guess I could say poop. They'll poop out lots of bacteria, and that bacteria is what feeds your garden. So yes, having bugs in the compost is good. And if I had a good enough Wi-Fi signal, I'd take you over to my compost pile. But hey, what can you do, right? What can you do? So let's see here. Nicole DiMartino, why are my strawberries barely growing even though they're in a raised bed with lots of sun? Nicole, check out our growing guide for how to grow strawberries. It is so important that you, one second, I'm gonna see if I can handle this here. There we go. So, anyways, I don't know who is doing that or why, but it is really, really obnoxious. There we go. Okay, so anyways, I don't know why live streams always turn into like just this spam fest. Anyways, and for anyone that is spamming, I just want to let anyone know that no one cares about your spam because they're here to get their questions answered. So if you're anyways, if you're trying to gain something from this live stream, go somewhere else because you're not gonna. Anyways. Let's put it this way. So, okay, so if you have not yet seen our strawberry live stream, wow, that's what live streams become when you get sidetracked. Okay, so if you've not yet seen our strawberry growing guide, one of the big things we talk about is how heavy of a nitrogen feeder they are. They really, really need a ton of nitrogen. And so one of the things that if you're noticing, if you don't have enough nitrogen, they're going to grow really slow. They'll look kind of spindly, and they will not have the fullness and vigor that you're looking for. Strawberry plants should be a nice ball of growth. And if they're not a big green ball of growth and they're kind of just like leaves popping up every which way, you need more nitrogen. Strawberry plants are some of the highest nitrogen requiring crops of anything in the garden. So I know for a fact that that's probably going to be one of your reasons. Another one is watering. Strawberry plants need a ton of water. If you don't give them a lot of water and they dry out, they do not like to be dry for very long. And that's where they start getting all that kind of wiry, spindly growth. So those would be my probably my top two favorite ways to get your strawberries to grow and to look like they're healthy. Let's see here. Do you have problems with small roaches? We actually don't have roaches here. Thank goodness, too. We don't have roaches. How's the living... Kathy Calhoun asks, how's the living fence doing? It's doing incredibly well. One of the things that I love is sitting out here on our porch. We could sit out and see all of the growth that's happening. I mean, the living fence has probably grown 3 or 4 inches since they planted it. And yes, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy brings up a good point. If you want a question, or if you have a question, put it in all caps, because it kind of filters out all the garbage, so I can see them better, and it helps me actually be able to follow it. So yeah, our living fence is doing really well. My one concern is how dry it's been. Arborvitaes are very prone to drying out, and because they're a cedar, or they're in the cedar family, they really like to stay wet a lot. And I'm worried at how they're going to do, because I can't water them all day every day, and so we need some rain. So everyone, pray for some rain. We need some. It is dry. It's real dry. So they've been doing well up to this point, but I'm sure they'll start showing some signs of stress before long. Mariah Volts, is it ever too late to trim back your avocado starter? I don't know anything about growing avocados, so I'm going to direct you to the only person that I know offhand that is growing avocados, and that is Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. You don't have to agree with any of his eating choices or anything like that. In fact, like I said before, I watch him all the time, but I watch him for gardening information. And even though him and I might have conflicting ideas about food and health, and I agree with a ton of what he says, it's just oftentimes people, they don't watch a channel because they don't necessarily agree 100% with a person. And what I have to say with that is, you'll never agree 100% with anybody. I mean, I don't even agree 100% with Mrs. MIgardener. But he has incredible information on growing avocados and growing tons of plants in the desert. So I love his channel. In fact, he's probably my top 5 favorites for kind of killing time on the internet. So aside from the other probably 100 channels that I watch, I've subscribed to a lot of people, and I kind of cycle through every other I cycle through my channels, and so I'm not really favoring anyone specifically, but I do have a couple favorites. I won't mention their names, but I got a couple favorites. So one of them, obviously one of them, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They just so happen to be on here, so I'll mention them. Their channel is way cool, and I'll tell you what, if I could grow a beard like that, and Mrs. MIgardener would allow it, I'd be all for it. So, you know what I mean, Doug. You know what I mean. I can't really grow a beard. I look homeless when I grow a beard, so that's why I shave it. But anyways, so, but they're one of my favorite channels to watch too. So, and plus, I dream of having a homestead. That's why everyone thinks I'm living in the country, even though I'm living in the city. Because I mean, come on, look at this place. Look at this. I mean, who does this in the city, right? I mean, we're like one step away from chickens. So, I mean, we're pretty much there. So, Robert Robert, I got you. Organic solutions for deterring aphids. I'm so glad you asked. How did you know that I'd be talking about this? So we actually have a video coming out very soon about how to deter aphids using neem oil. Now, neem oil is one of our favorite methods for organic solutions, because it's I mean, there's a lot of methods that really work, but one of the ones that I love to use is neem oil, because it stretches a long ways. I mean, you get like an 8-ounce bottle, it'll last us all year long. But assuming you don't want to do that, you can buy one of our other favorite methods that we actually did a video on was on ladybugs. We released, I think it was like 10,000 ladybugs in the cottage garden. That was amazing. It was so cool to see. So we had a tiny little bit of aphid pressure, and also neem oil works the best if you have a lot of aphid pressure. If you only have a tiny bit of aphid pressure, I prefer to do nothing, which is kind of crazy, because most people would say, whoa, you got to get rid of them right away. I don't jump to taking care of aphids or most garden pests right away, because nature has a way of creating balance. And so part of an organic garden that we really like to do is stress that balance that the nature has. And so we'll let, like, ladybugs naturally just say, hey, we want to come here. And by creating an environment that is hospitable to the aphids, or creating an environment that's hospitable for the ladybugs to come and eat the aphids, they'll do that naturally. But then also what you can do is, if they do get out of control, you can use high spray water. We'll just take the plant and spray it up and down with a not a power washer, but we'll take a pump sprayer, just fill it with water, turn it to the harshest setting. That's about as harsh as we'll go, something that doesn't defoliate the plant. But what you want to do is you want to knock off those aphids, because they have their teeth sunk into again, we use this plant as a citronella plant as an example. And so they sink their teeth into the undersides of the leaves there, those veins. And what you can do is you can take your power washer, you can take your high pressure spray, not a power washer, oh Lord, okay, and spray them really heavily underneath there. And what it'll do is it will essentially throw them off of the plant, and their teeth, since, well, they don't really have teeth like you and I have teeth, but they sink their mouths into the undersides of the leaves, and then they'll be washed away. And what that does is essentially kills them almost on the spot, because well, imagine if your teeth were ripped out. So that's a really good way. But then neem oil too. What I'll do is I'll take 1 tablespoon of neem oil, mix it in with 1 gallon of water. I'll use a couple drops of dish soap, again, to emulsify it, because water and oil don't mix. And I'll start with 1 tablespoon and work up to 2. And the secret is getting cold pressed neem oil. What you can do is you can take cold pressed neem oil and spray your plants with it, because it has a chemical called pyrethrin. Pyrethrin is from a daisy, but it has something called azadirachtin. And azadirachtin is actually a chemical that's lost. Not all neem oils are created equal, and azadirachtin stops the life cycle process, so it will halt them from laying eggs, and it basically makes them sterile when they consume the azadirachtin in the neem oil. So it doesn't necessarily kill them, it just stops their life cycle, so they can't lay more eggs. So hopefully that answered your question. Let's see here. Whoa, so many questions. I wish there was a way YouTube could keep them from flowing so fast here, because they come up so fast on my phone. I'm sorry if I'm missing somebody. Samantha Austin, what should I plant in empty pots while I wait to be able to plant fall crops? I mean, that's a kind of an open-ended question. It's hard for me to really answer, because it's based on your location. It's based on your temperatures, things like that. For me, if I had any open containers right now, I'd plant lettuce. I'd plant, and this is just to get you through fall, I'd recommend lettuce, not spinach, it'll bolt too fast, but lettuce, carrots, any of your kind of cold weather crops, broccoli. Samantha Austin, right by you. I knew you were in that house. I'm just kidding. Lettuce, carrots are great. Broccoli is an awesome one for pots. Again, throw them in those 3 and 5 gallon pots. We have a video. Called. It's a series called How to Grow in Containers. It's all container growing guides. We have a ton of them on peppers and broccoli. A lot of those will grow in this climate here in Michigan, and you can get them to mature by the time fall comes, and then you can move on to fall gardening. So, whoa, so many questions again. Jay Freeze, how do you do any indoor gardening with horticultural lighting? Yeah, we do indoor gardening. We actually have an indoor garden that we run through the winter time, where we grow all of our lettuce and leafy greens, and that's just awesome. I mean, oh my goodness, we love fresh salads during the winter, especially because we don't have a greenhouse or a heated hoop house. We do have a greenhouse, we just can't keep it up for very long. But we don't have a hoop house and things like that. Kathy Brochu, June bugs. There's something called milky spore. Milky spore is what we've used for June bugs. And one of the things that you can do is you take milky spore and you basically just dust it on your lawn, because milky spore I believe it's a bacteria, or it could be a fungus, but I'm almost positive it's bacteria. And I know it's called milky spore, let's put it that way. And you put it on your lawn, and what it does is it actually affects the larva. So if you have June bugs flying around, that's too late. That's the adult stage. You want to affect the larva stage, which is next year. So I'd go through in the summertime, summer and fall, put down milky spore, and then in the spring, see ya. They don't sprout. They don't sprout. They don't emerge from the ground. Admiral Thayer, squash vine borer protection. Very glad you asked. So we have a product that we've been working on in the store. I'm pretty sure it's sold out because it's pretty hot stuff. But it's called Squash Vine Borer Be Gone. And what it is an essential oil spray that we will mix in with. We'll actually just take it's a essential oil. We'll take it just like neem oil, and it's comprised of like lemongrass oil, peppermint oil, basil essential oil, and rosemary essential oil. We take it, we mix it all together, then oils all mix, and then we bottle it up, and it's real expensive. You can buy the tiny little bottles, it's not too bad, but it's real expensive if you try to source it all individually. So we buy it in bulk to make it cheaper for you guys, and we'll mix it up in 4-ounce bottles, and a little splash, we're talking like a tablespoon per gallon, will go a super long way. You mix it up, a couple drops of dish soap, remember that's the secret to get the oil and water to mix. Shake it up, pump it up with a pump sprayer, and then you want to spray down your squash plants or any cucurbita family plant, pumpkins, watermelon, any squash trilling plants, things like that, and you will essentially not kill any of the squash vine borers, but what you're doing is you're preventing them. Because your squash plants, anything in the cucurbita family, will give off a pheromone, and that pheromone is what attracts the squash vine borers to the plant. They hone right in on that pheromone. So if you can mask the pheromone, also by planting, we'll take herbs, we plant herbs right next to our squash plants, and that actually helps to mask the scent of the squash plant. So very fragrant herbs like basil, rosemary, lemongrass, peppermint, again, pretty much all the essential oils, plant the actual plant, and you'll have pretty good luck. Not 100% because it's not as strong as the essential oil, but it's real good. So, should I prune suckers on tomatoes? That's optional. Single stemming tomatoes, as you know, we are pruning the suckers on our 87-year-old tomato, and you can prune the suckers if you want. People say that it basically takes the energy away from the plant. Totally not true. It's totally not true. What it does is it takes away some of the energy from fruiting, so you have slightly smaller fruit, but in my experience, you actually have way more fruit if you don't prune. If you take pruners and prune off all of the suckers on your tomatoes, more energy just goes back into the fruit size, so they have larger fruit. But for me, all of our tomato plants back in the garden there, with the exception of the 87-year-old tomato, because we're propagating the cuttings, we don't single stem our plants. We let them just grow and bush and thrive, and that way we have tons and tons of fruit. We'll get bushels of tomatoes from a single plant, so you really can't go wrong there. Let's see here. Should I grow cilantro close together? Certainly. Yeah, cilantro, don't space it out. One of the things I always learned about cilantro is it bolts so stinking quick. We have some cilantro right there. Already bolted. It's only been in the ground for 2 weeks, and it's already bolted in the hot sun. So it's just, it is what it is. Plant it close together, and okay, we're going back up again. Plant it close together like the lettuce there, and what happens is it actually will shade the soil. Sorry about that. I'm balancing you on a pot, so hold on. Let's see if we can get it again here. So there we go. So get out of the way. The lettuce, the leaves shade the soil, and it makes the soil temperatures cooler. And one of the reasons why plants bolt is not because the air temperature is hot, it's because the soil temperature is hot. If you can keep the soil temperature cool, the plants will grow longer. So mulching will help this. Any type of an air gap will really help. And you can take mulch. You can take leaves, so if you grow them close together, the leaves work as a mulch. And you can also use shade cloth, things like that. Keeping them really well watered also helps. Then you have to be concerned about root rot and things like that. But in my experience, keeping them really well watered is a great way to prevent the stress, and that's what causes the plant to bolt. It has to reproduce, and it says, holy cow, if I don't flower and fruit now, I might die, and I have to keep my species going, so I need to reproduce. So yes, we're going to do a few more questions here, and then I got to get lunch working because it's getting late. So I got to get lunch on for Mrs. MIgardener because she just texted me she's coming home from errands. So we'll do 2 more questions, 2 more, and Off-Grid with Doug and Stacy, get a hold of me. You guys have been a massive help through this mess. There's so many dingbats on here, and I got a gift card for you guys. I want to help you guys out. So after this is over, send me an email and we'll get you guys a gift card to MIgardener.com. Get you guys some heirloom seeds, or whatever you want. Let's see here. 2 more questions. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So many questions. I gotta sort through them now. Oh my goodness. It like pushed them all in waves here. I planted onions. Okay, so I can't pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Guillermi. I'm sorry. I'm not good with names like that. I planted onions, and the green stems are dying, but the onions has not formed. What should I do? Big problem. If your onions greens are dying, one of the things that you can do is you have to increase the nitrogen, and you have to water more. Onions, if they die and they fall over, once they fall over, it is game over. One of the things that has happened to us in the past is if they get dry, the outside leaves will begin dying and turning brown and kind of grassy, if you will. And so you don't want that to continue happening, because if it moves in too far on the crown of the onion, or the neck of the onion, what happens is it will fall over from the weight of the tops. And as soon as it crimps, it'll tell the onion that it's ready to be harvested or ready to go dormant. So give it lots of nitrogen to increase more leaf growth, and then give it lots more water to prevent any of the future dying. So 1 more question. That was a good one. That was a really good question. Okay, very, very good question here from Isaac Furix. Isaac, my man. Hopefully I did not butcher your name too badly. So he asked, how do I know if my melons need more water or more fertilizer? This is a good question to end on, because I think a lot of people will be able to benefit from this. This is something that I see beginning gardeners really struggling with is they see, okay, we're gonna pull out the prop plant again, okay? So let's say some of these leaves are turning yellow, and they freak out. They immediately go to water, and they just cram it full of water, and then they see more yellow leaves. They say, oh my gosh, my plant must need more water. Cram it full of more water. And what they're doing is they're drowning their plant, when in reality all it needed is some nitrogen to green it up, or some magnesium to green it up. And so there might have just been a nutrient deficiency, but beginning gardeners immediately go to water. So one of the things you can do is you can pick up the pot. If you can't pick up the pot, if it's in a container, pick up the container. If it's really light, it's probably water, because water is the only way for the plant to uptake nutrients. So you get a lot of nutrient deficiencies if there's no water in the soil. So you can basically pick up the pot. If it's real light, probably some water will help. If you can't pick up the pot, if it's not in a container, it's in like a raised bed, stick your finger down in the soil, and if it's dry up to your second knuckle, about 2 inches deep, water some more. Most of your bacteria in the rhizosphere of the soil live in the top 2 to 4 inches of soil. Hey Tangi, how's it going? And Cindy just came home from from errands, so she might pop out to say hi before we're done, but she might also be tending to Geneva, who might have woken up. So the rhizosphere contains all the bacteria. The bacteria are what fixes the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the micronutrients, and trace minerals to your plant. And so if that dries out, the bacteria cannot help feed the plant. There might be nutrients, there might be tons of nutrients in the soil, so watering's going to help. And so you got to make sure that it's dry, or moist, not dry, about 2 or 3 inches down. Next thing is, if you're watering on a very consistent basis, and you just keep watering, and plants and the leaves keep turning yellow, give it some nitrogen. It's probably getting too much water and you're suffering from root rot. That's a big problem that a lot of gardeners have, is they kill their plants with kindness, and they just keep saying, oh, don't you love water? I heard you love water, and they just keep piling it on. And your plants don't have snorkels, okay? Your plants need a breather. They need to dry out a little bit. And so that allows oxygen to refill in the soil. If water is the only thing in the soil, then there's no room for oxygen to get into the soil to feed the roots and the bacteria. So you're going to have root rot, and that's where a lot of anaerobic bacteria take place. So that's kind of a basic way of telling you if you have not enough water or not enough nutrients. It's something that definitely is more advanced when it comes to gardener's intuition. You got to learn these things and notice, kind of be able to recognize those issues, because I know when I first started gardening, don't worry, you don't have to feel bad if you did this either, because I did the same thing. I went right to watering. Watering was always my default, and really it could have just been fixed with a little bit of compost or your fertilizer of choice, because it was just a tiny little bit of plant food is all it needed. And so another thing that I can say too is that oftentimes you don't know your plants. There might be plants that like it a little drier. Citronella likes it a little drier, and you might be watering on a really regular basis all of your plants at the same time. But some plants, like your more Mediterranean plants, basil, citronella, some of your figs and pomegranates, and what am I seeing here? Sage is another one. Oregano is another one. They don't like a lot of water, and so you might be saying, well, I'm not watering that often, or my soil is drying out. I can water again. They might be saying, whoa, hold up. Where we grow, we don't like this much water. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to listen to your plants too, and understand the regions that they grow naturally. Tomatoes, for instance, peppers, for instance, they're tropical. They like lots of water, but they like drying out between waterings. Peppers, they do great in the desert. They like dry soil. So don't give them tons of water, otherwise they're going to suffer. Plants like lettuce, plants like broccoli and cabbage, they love water. So give them lots of water. But again, just getting to understand your plants, understanding what plants like more water, what plants like less water, will also help to prevent the overwatering issue that I think really is what plagues most gardeners. So that is that. But anyways, thank you all for tuning into this live stream. It was super, super successful despite all of the chaos and craziness. But again, and a big thank you to Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They are a wonderful couple. I recommend subscribing to their channel, and we will do more of these. I want to do more of these. It was a very spur of the moment live stream. I said, you know what, I'm not doing anything, and I can't be out in the garden recording something. I was gonna do episodes today, but because it's slightly drizzling and raining, actually you can see the rain clouds beginning to move over. I said, you know what, let's do a live stream. So I'm glad you all turned out for this. I'm glad it was pretty successful despite all the chaos that happened. And thank you. I really do appreciate you guys not letting the craziness get to you. And if I did not answer your question, you can ask it in the comments box below. I'd be happy to get to it. And it's one thing that I try to do my best to answer all the questions. I try to get to every single person's question. I try not to repeat from the same people a lot. But if it happened, I'm sorry. You can definitely tune in on the next live stream. I'll make sure to get to you. It's more reasons to subscribe and to hit that little bell so you're notified whenever we have a live stream, because And yes, I've had this in my hand the entire time. We've had people asking me what the ball is for. It's Geneva's ball. It was sitting on the ground, and I don't know. Fidgety, who knows? Maybe I need a fidget spinner. Probably not. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. So, anyways, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and all you other people to grow big or go home. We'll see you later. Bye. And check out the episode I just uploaded. All right. My battery's getting low, too. Bye. Let's go. Citronella plant.